Have you ever felt that your life is harder than that of other people? As if, no matter how hard you try to move forward, there are always unexpected obstacles, challenges that come out of nowhere, and people who seem disturbed by you, even without reason? If this happens, it may be a sign that you are chosen. The chosen do not have ordinary lives. They carry something special within themselves, something that the world feels, even if it does not understand. But this light you carry bothers. And whenever a person has a greater purpose, the attacks come stronger. This is because the enemy knows that if you discover your true potential, nothing can stop you. Perhaps you have already felt that some people treat you with indifference, distrust, or even hostility, even without reason. Perhaps you have already noticed that when you are about to achieve something important, unexpected challenges arise. This is not a coincidence. The chosen are constant targets because their mission threatens those who do not want the truth to shine. But why do these attacks happen? What is the reason for so much resistance against those who just want to follow their journey in peace? Today, we will explore the three main reasons why the chosen are attacked. You will understand what lies behind these difficulties and how to strengthen yourself to remain steadfast in your purpose. If you have ever gone through moments of doubt, if you have ever wondered why things seem harder for you than for others, this video can provide important answers. You are not alone, and what you are facing has a greater purpose. So, stay with me until the end, because this message may transform your way of seeing the challenges in your life. And before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this. Your journey matters, and together we can move forward stronger. The attacks you suffer are not random. If your life has been marked by intense struggles, moments of trial, and challenges that seem inexplicable, know that this is a sign that you are valuable in the spiritual plan. The enemy does not waste time with those who do not pose a threat. If he pursues you, it is because he sees something in you that you may not have yet realized. The Bible teaches us that the devil prowls like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But a lion does not hunt just any prey. He chooses strategic targets, those who are strong and have great potential. If you are facing constant difficulties, it is because your existence disturbs the darkness. The enemy knows that if you discover your true identity, nothing can stop you. This is the first reason why the chosen are attacked. Because your life has a purpose, and the enemy will do everything to prevent you from fulfilling it. From an early age, he tries to weaken you by planting doubts in your mind, making you question your faith, your worth, and even your abilities. If he can convince you that you are not special, he hinders your progress. Many people go through this without realizing it. They face repetitive challenges, feel unmotivated, and start to believe they will never be able to overcome. The enemy wants you to believe that your struggles are signs that God has forgotten you, but in reality, it is quite the opposite. If attacks come frequently, it is because you are on the right path. But how do you deal with this? By strengthening your faith and your relationship with God. The enemy can only weaken you when you distance yourself from the source of your strength. When you understand who you truly are, when you connect with God and lean on His word, the attacks lose their power. The enemy may try to bring you down, but he will never be able to stop God's plans for your life. The only thing that can delay your purpose is fear and doubt. But when you know that God has already declared your victory, you walk fearlessly. No matter the size of the battle, you have already won before it even begins. The enemy knows this, and that is why he tries to stop you before you realize your own power. You may be wondering, why does God allow these attacks to happen? Because every struggle you face is training for something greater. God never allows a trial without purpose. What may seem like an obstacle today could be preparing you for something grand in the future. What the enemy tries to use against you, God transforms into strength. The secret is to remain steadfast. The enemy cannot stop you, but he can try to convince you to give up. This is the true battle, the struggle against discouragement, against doubt, against the desire to give up your mission. But every time you choose to move forward, even in the face of attacks, you prove that you are stronger than any trap set against you. The first step to winning this war is to recognize who you really are. The enemy already knows. Now, you need to know as well. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are not small. You are chosen, set apart for something much greater than you can imagine. And no attack can prevent what God has already decreed over your life. The chosen are not targets just because of who they are, but for what they are becoming. The enemy knows that the more you grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, the harder it will be to stop you. He does not fear those who remain stagnant, but rather those who evolve, who advance, who awaken to their purpose. Every step you take toward your destiny is a direct threat against the darkness. If you have noticed that whenever you try to improve your life, an unexpected problem arises, know that this is not a coincidence. Whenever a chosen one grows, the enemy becomes desperate. He does everything to prevent you from reaching the next level, because he knows that the stronger you become, the more people you can impact. The growth of a chosen one is not just personal. It reverberates around them. Your life becomes an inspiration, an example, a proof that it is possible to overcome. Your light illuminates those who are still lost, and the enemy does not want anyone to escape the darkness. Therefore, he uses distractions, temptations, and discouragement as weapons to prevent you from continuing. If he cannot draw you away from God directly, he will try to weaken your faith little by little. He may make you feel that you are not good enough, that you are not progressing, that your efforts are in vain. He puts obstacles in your way to discourage you and make it seem like everything you are building could collapse at any moment. The attacks can come in different forms. Unexpected problems. When you are about to take an important step, something arises to try to divert you. Internal doubts. He whispers lies in your mind to make you question your own ability. Spiritual and emotional fatigue. He wants you to feel overwhelmed and lacking the strength to continue. Close people discouraging you. He may even use those around you to plant insecurity in your heart. The enemy wants you to stop, to give up, to believe that it is not worth continuing. But the secret to overcoming this phase is persistence. The enemy only wins when you give up. If you continue, even in the face of difficulties, God transforms each attack into a stepping stone for your victory. When you face challenges and choose to continue, you do not just grow, you strengthen. Each battle won gives you more resilience, more wisdom, and greater clarity about your calling. What seemed like an obstacle becomes a tool that empowers you to accomplish even greater things. If you look back, you will see that many difficult moments taught you lessons that made you the person you are today. God never allows a struggle without purpose. Every pain you have faced had a greater reason, and each challenge you have overcome was preparation for what is yet to come. Growth is not comfortable. It requires you to face your fears, to break old patterns, to step out of your comfort zone. But do not allow difficulties to make you stop. The enemy cannot prevent what God has already decreed over your life, but he can try to make you doubt it. That is why whenever you feel that the battle is more intense, remember, it is because you are advancing. Attacks never come against those who do not represent a threat. If you are being attacked, it is because your growth is bothering the kingdom of darkness. Stay strong. Each step you take is a blow against the enemy. God has already declared your victory, and the more you persevere, the closer you are to seeing that promise fulfilled. The presence of a chosen one never goes unnoticed. Even unknowingly, you carry something that impacts the environment around you. Some people feel good around you. They feel peace, inspiration, and even admiration. But others become deeply uncomfortable, even without understanding why. This happens because your light exposes what is hidden. Many live in darkness without realizing it. They are trapped in lies, destructive habits, and limited ways of thinking. When a chosen one emerges, bringing a new perspective, awakening consciousness, those people feel threatened. You are the living proof that there is something beyond, that there is a different way, and not everyone wants to see that. The first reaction of most is not to reflect on their own lives, but to resist. Human beings tend to reject what they do not understand, and when your energy reveals truths that many are not prepared to face, they react with disdain, anger, or even try to discredit you. This resistance can manifest in various forms. Some people will try to minimize your faith, discredit your values, or even distort your words. Others may spread lies about you, label you as exaggerated, or simply distance themselves without explanation. Not because you have done something wrong, but because your presence forces these people to confront what they are still unwilling to change. The chosen have not been called to please everyone. Their mission is not to be accepted, but to be a channel of transformation. God has placed you where you are for a reason. Your light cannot be extinguished by those who prefer to remain in darkness. The greatest proof that you are on the right path is the opposition you face. Those who are bothered by you are actually troubled by their own lives. You do not need to change. You do not need to hide. Just continue being who God has called you to be, because those who are ready will one day see the truth that you carry. How to react to attacks. When a chosen one faces attacks, the natural reaction may be to revolt, question, or even feel sad. After all, no one likes to be criticized, wronged, or feel that they are being prevented from moving forward. But there is a powerful secret that differentiates those who fall in the midst of battle from those who stand firm: how they react to the attacks. The enemy does not just want to hurt you. He wants to take you off focus, weaken your faith, and make you give up. Often the attacks do not come in the obvious form of persecution or external difficulties. They come as doubts that arise in your mind, as feelings of discouragement, and as thoughts that try to convince you that your struggle is not worth it. It is precisely at this moment that you need to remember something essential. If God has chosen you, no one can prevent what He has planned for your life. The struggles are part of the journey, but they do not define who you are. What defines a chosen one is how they face these battles. The first thing to keep in mind is that you are not alone. The enemy will always try to make you believe that no one understands what you are going through, that no one is by your side. But this is one of the greatest traps he uses to weaken the chosen ones. Emotional and spiritual isolation is one of the biggest dangers for those who are in the midst of a battle. If you feel that the attacks have been intense, that your faith is being tested, and that the difficulties are trying to paralyze you, understand that this is the moment to strengthen yourself even more. The attacks do not come against those who are stagnant. They come against those who are advancing, against those who have a purpose, against those who have a real impact on the spiritual world. Therefore, instead of questioning why the attacks are happening, begin to see these moments as signs that you are on the right path. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who do not represent a threat. If he is attacking you, it is because he knows that you are a danger to his plans. The great secret to not being shaken by trials is to feed your mind and spirit with what strengthens you. The enemy tries to launch lies to weaken you, but you can combat them with the truth. Do not accept thoughts that diminish you, that make you feel incapable or unworthy. What God says about you is far greater than any accusation that may be thrown against your life. Another important aspect is how you deal with the people who attack you. Often, the attacks come from where we least expect. From close people, friends, family, co-workers. This can be painful, but it does not mean that you should respond in kind. Retaliating or holding a grudge only weakens you spiritually. The best response to those who try to bring you down is to keep growing, keep moving forward, keep fulfilling your purpose. Nothing shakes the enemy more than seeing a chosen one remain steadfast, even when all circumstances seem to say otherwise. If he realizes that his attacks cannot stop you, he loses power over you. Persistence is one of the most powerful weapons a chosen one can have. When you choose not to give up, when you decide to continue even in the face of difficulties, you are declaring to the spiritual world that no attack will be enough to take you away from the purpose God has placed in your life. Another essential point is to maintain your peace. The enemy wants to see you anguished, tired, and overwhelmed. He knows that when we are emotionally and spiritually weakened, we are more vulnerable. That is why he creates situations to try to steal your joy and your inner peace. But when you learn to maintain your peace even in the midst of struggles, you become unshakable. This does not mean ignoring the difficulties, but rather understanding that they do not have the power to define you. You may be going through a difficult time, but that does not change the fact that you have already been chosen for victory. The enemy may try, but he will never be able to change what God has already decreed over your life. Choose to react with faith, with firmness, and with confidence. Do not let yourself be swayed by fear, doubt, or discouragement. Always remember, if you have been chosen, the attacks are part of the journey, but victory has already been guaranteed. Let's go back a little and briefly talk about the 3 reasons why the chosen are attacked so frequently. The enemy knows who you are. From the moment you were born, the enemy realized that there is a purpose in your life. He tries to prevent you from discovering your true identity and makes you believe that you are not special. But God has already chosen you, and no attack can change that. Your growth threatens the kingdom of darkness. Every time you advance, the enemy becomes desperate. He knows that the more you grow, the more impact you have in the spiritual world and the more people you can positively influence. That is why he uses distractions, challenges, and temptations to make you give up. Your light exposes the darkness. The chosen carry a presence that bothers those who live in darkness. Some people feel uncomfortable around you because your light reveals truths they prefer to ignore. They try to discredit you, distance themselves, or create resistance because they are not ready to see the truth. In light of this, the attacks you face are not signs of defeat, but of purpose. Each challenge that arises is not a punishment, but a preparation. God chooses people for specific missions, and the chosen carry a greater responsibility. If you are being attacked, it is because there is something valuable within you that needs to be manifested in the world. The first reason for the attacks is that the enemy knows who you are. He recognizes you even before you realize your own identity. He knows that God has set you apart for something special, and therefore tries to prevent you from seeing your own worth. From an early age, he plants doubts, fears, and insecurities so that you never discover who you really are. But what God has already decreed, no enemy can undo. The second reason is that your growth threatens the kingdom of darkness. The The more you advance, the more desperate the enemy becomes. He knows that your strength is not just for yourself, but to transform lives around you. That is why he uses distractions, temptations, and difficulties to try to make you stop. He wants you to doubt your potential and feel that you will never be strong enough to fulfill your mission. But the truth is that the more you resist, the stronger you become. The enemy's attacks do not weaken you, they strengthen you. What seems to be an obstacle is, in fact, a training ground. God allows battles because he knows that each one will prepare you for something greater. No chosen one is called to an easy path, but everyone is empowered to win. The third reason why you are attacked is that your light exposes the darkness. Have you noticed that some people simply become bothered by you for no apparent reason? This happens because your presence reveals what many try to hide. Your authenticity, your faith, your truth are like a mirror, showing what is wrong in the world. Not everyone is ready for this truth. Some will distance themselves, others will try to discredit you. But this does not mean that you should dim your light. Your mission is not to please everyone, but to be a channel of transformation. God has placed you where you are for a reason, and your light cannot be extinguished by those who still prefer to live in darkness. In light of all this, remember, you can inspire others simply by being who you are. Your journey, your faith, and your courage already serve as an example for those around you. You can create change just by standing firm and not allowing the attacks to divert you from your purpose. The enemy wants to convince you that you are not strong enough, that it is not worth continuing. But that is his biggest lie. If God has chosen you, he will empower you. Your presence in this world is a sign that God wants to do something through you. Nothing can stop God's plans for your life unless you give up. So, stay strong. Keep moving forward. The attacks are not signs that you are lost, but that you are on the right path. You were born to shine, and no force of evil can extinguish what God has already ignited within you. If you identified with this message, know that you are not alone. The chosen have always faced resistance, from ancient times to the present day. Those who carry a greater purpose are tested in every way, but those who remain faithful to their mission are always led to triumph. The challenges you face today are not signs of weakness, but of strength. If the enemy attacks you frequently, it is because he recognizes your value. He only tries to hinder those who pose a threat to his plans. If you are the target of attacks, persecutions, or unexpected difficulties, do not interpret this as a sign that you are lost, but rather as a confirmation that you are on the right path. The lives of the chosen will never be ordinary. From the moment God placed a purpose within you, your journey became different. But what many do not understand is that each battle has a greater purpose. What seems like an obstacle today may be exactly what is preparing you for something grand tomorrow. The enemy wants to convince you that you are not strong enough, that it is not worth continuing. But that is the biggest lie he can tell. The truth is that you have already won before you even began the battle, because those who walk with God never fight alone. Do not let difficulties make you give up. Do not hide your light to please those who are not ready to see it. The world needs what you carry, and God chose you precisely because he knows you can endure each challenge. If you look back, you will see that you have already overcome many situations you thought were impossible. And if you managed to win before, you will be able to win again. God does not choose the most prepared, but he empowers those he chooses. If you have been called, he will give you everything you need to fulfill your mission. Many have given up along the way because they did not know how to deal with the attacks. But you are not just anyone. You have been called to something greater. So do not give up. Do not hide. Do not let anything extinguish your essence. Your light is needed. Your journey matters. Keep growing, evolving, and moving forward with courage, because in the end, the light always wins. If this message resonated with you, leave your comment and subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content that strengthens your journey. You were born to win, and nothing can stop the purpose that God has for your life.